to break down Navigating the Globe, a senior's ultimate travel guide.
I am so excited to be here. This guide is seriously packed with great advice, and I think anyone listening will find it super helpful, especially the stuff specifically for senior travelers.
Love it. Let's jump right in. One thing that really stood out to me was how senior travel is becoming way more than just, checking things off a bucket list.
Right.
It feels more about like deeper, richer experiences now.
Yeah, you're totally right. The guide actually talks about that a lot. It even calls it a trend. It's not just about like going places anymore. It's more about really immersing yourself in different cultures and doing the things you're passionate about that you maybe didn't have time for before.
I love that. It's about more than just seeing the sights, right? It's about making it your own, your trip.
100%. And there are some great examples in the guide too. Let's say you're a big history buff, right? Instead of some generic European tour, imagine like following the footsteps of Roman emperors through Italy or something, learning about those old civilizations firsthand.
Wow.
Or like for the foodies out there are these culinary tours that take you beyond the touristy stuff into like the heart of local cuisines.
Now that's a delicious adventure. Okay, so you've got this vision of your perfect trip all planned out, but then comes the actual planning.
Right.
And this guide does not mess around with the practical stuff either. Like, it stresses how important it is to make sure your health and fitness match up with your travel goals.
100%. It's not saying you have to be some kind of marathon runner, obviously. It's just about, being realistic about how fit you are. Choose destinations and things to do that, like fit with your abilities. It even suggests some simple exercises you can do to get more stamina and flexibility, especially for navigating those cobblestone streets and stuff.
Like tailoring your workout to your dream trip. Makes sense. You want to really enjoy everything without feeling held back.
Yeah.
Speaking of being prepared, the guide also goes into some pre-trip essentials. Some of it was truly eye-opening.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And it really emphasizes something people don't always think about.
What's that?
Having all your medical information organized and easy to get to, imagine that peace of mind. Knowing you have a list of all your medications, emergency contacts, any important medical history.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going international.
It's like you're creating a travel safety net so you can really relax and enjoy the trip, knowing you've got that covered.
That's a great way to put it.
Thanks.
And while we're talking about feeling good and prepared, the guide has a really interesting take on picking the right kind of travel for you.
Which is so key. Not everyone likes to travel the same way, obviously. Some people want that structure, that ease of a pre-planned thing, while others want to, blaze their own trail.
Exactly. The guide is so good at breaking down the good and bad of different travel styles, especially for senior travelers.
Okay, so let's get into it.
Let's talk about cruises.
Okay.
Cruises offer that all-inclusive, organized experience that lots of people love. You unpack once and you wake up to a new view every day. Plus, your meals, your entertainment, even your excursions are often all planned out for you.
Just total relaxation. But what about the people who want a bit more freedom, a little flexibility with their schedule?
Independent travel might be more up their alley. Imagine renting a car and venturing off the beaten path, discovering those little hidden gems and local spots you wouldn't find on some tour. It's about that sense of autonomy, that adventure, which can be really fulfilling for certain travelers.
It's about finding that balance between comfort and adventure.
Yeah.
What speaks to you most?
I gotta say, I've always been drawn to the freedom of solo travel. That feeling of setting your own pace, if I want to spend extra time at a museum, I can. Or if I see a beautiful sunset, I can just change my plans and go chase it. That's what I love.
I love that. It's so liberating just listening to your own inner explorer, and going your own way. But before we get too carried away with the wanderlust here, we got to talk about, the budget.
Ugh, tell me about it.
Travel can get expensive.
It can.
But this guide really emphasizes that it doesn't have to break the bank.
Right.
Especially for seniors. There are deals to be found.
Tons. You just have to know where to look.
Okay, give us the secrets. How do we tap into these senior travel savings?
Well, a lot of travel agencies, those cruise lines, even some attractions offer discounted rates for seniors. Just ask. The guide also suggests checking out some websites and organizations that specialize in finding those senior travel deals and packages. You can find some crazy savings on flights, places to stay, even entire tours.
So the takeaway is just ask,
Yeah.
right? Don't be afraid to ask about those senior discounts. You never know.
Exactly. Be a savvy traveler. And while we're talking about being smart, we got to talk about safety, which is super important for, senior travelers.
Oh, absolutely. Feeling safe and like secure is so important, especially when you're in a new place. What kind of advice does this guide give on that?
One of the simplest but most helpful tips is just being aware of your surroundings. Take basic precautions so you don't become like a target for pickpockets,
Right.
especially in those crowded areas, where tourists go.
It's a real concern, especially in big cities, right?
Right.
What strategies does the guide suggest?
They suggest things like carrying your wallet in your front pocket, not your back one,
Hmm.
and using a crossbody bag that zips or like fastens securely, and wear it in front. Just being mindful of your things, especially in crowds or when you're on public transit.
It's like having those mental reminders, to
Hmm.
keep you sharp.
Right?
And it's not just about like personal safety. The guide talks about health precautions too, which are even more important as we get older, right?
For sure. There's a whole section on that. It stresses how like a little preparation goes a long way.
So true. What were some of the things you found most useful?
The biggest one, talk to your doctor before you go,
Yeah.
especially if you have any, health conditions. They can tell you about any shots you might need or like specific precautions for the places you're going.
Oh, yeah. Good reminder. I always pack a first aid kit too, just in case. Having those essentials gives me peace of mind.
Smart. Speaking of peace of mind, we got to talk about travel insurance. I think it's a must-have for seniors, especially for international trips.
Totally. It's like you hope you never need it, but you're so glad you have it if things go wrong.
Exactly.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit. Let's talk accessibility. That's something that's often on the minds of senior travelers, right?
You're right. The guide talks about that too. It's honest. Not every destination is perfect when it comes to accessibility. But it also says that the world is getting better for travelers with mobility issues.
That's good to hear. So it's about choosing carefully then.
Right. Exactly. They really recommend researching places beforehand, like the hotels and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Look for spots that cater to your needs. Like, do they have ramps? Are the doorways wide enough? Grab bars in the bathroom.
That's all about those little details,
They
right?
make a huge difference.
Now, another question that comes up a lot with senior travel is, well, should I go solo or with a group?
Oh, that's a good one. The guide says there's no right answer. It really depends on you.
Right, right.
Some people love the social aspect of a group, You've got built-in friends for sightseeing, for meals, for those late-night chats about the day.
Like having a built-in social life. Yeah, that's appealing, especially if you're traveling solo, but you still want that, companionship.
Exactly. But then, for those who really value their independence, solo travel is just freeing.
Yes.
Imagine going at your own pace.
Yeah.
If you want to spend an extra hour at a museum, you can.
I love that.
Solo travel is all about that spontaneity.
It's about listening to your own inner explorer.
Yeah.
But let's talk about something that can be a little intimidating for some senior travelers.
Oh.
Technology.
Yeah.
All those apps, all those gadgets.
It can be a lot, but the guide does a really good job of making it less scary.
Does it?
It shows how tech can actually be super useful for travelers.
Okay, I'm listening. Give me an example.
Imagine you're in a market, right,
Uh.
in another country, and you're trying to buy something, but you don't speak the language.
Oh, I've been there.
Instead of trying to, like, mime everything, you can just pull out your phone. Use a translation app. Boom. You can talk to anyone.
Wow. Like having a personal translator.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just that. Think about ride-sharing apps to get around affordably, or navigation apps so you never get lost. There are even apps that keep all your travel info in one place. Your flights, hotels, everything.
Makes it so much easier.
So much easier.
We've talked about the planning, the safety, accessibility, tech, but no matter how prepared we are, things happen. It's all part of the adventure, right?
The guide talks about that too.
Really?
It gives advice on how to handle problems, especially related to health or like getting around.
Like having a travel buddy, you always knows what to do.
Okay, so what are some of the strategies they suggest? Well, one of the most important is just listening to your body. Don't push yourself too hard. Take breaks when you need them. Even if you have to skip something, it's your trip. Enjoy it.
Quality over quantity,
Mm-hmm.
especially when there's so much to see and do. What else?
Pack light. And use luggage that's easy to move around, especially if you're dealing with, cobblestones or uneven sidewalks. Packing cubes.
Oh, yeah, those are great.
They changed my life. Keep everything organized.
And on that note, the guide has a whole section on packing essentials just for seniors. Comfort is key, am I right?
The most important, they recommend packing good shoes that are made for walking and layers of clothing so you're ready for anything. And always, always pack your meds in your carry-on, just in case your check bag gets delayed.
Those are great tips. It's so easy to forget about that stuff. What about those travel gadgets I hear about?
Oh, the guide is full of them. Things like those lightweight, foldable walking sticks for extra stability,
Oh, yeah.
travel pillows to keep you comfy on long flights,
Smart.
even little portable humidifiers.
Now that's an idea.
Hmm.
I get so dry on planes. Game changer. So, we've got the planning, the safety, accessibility, the tech, even packing down. But beyond all that, the guide also reminds us that travel is about, well, making memories.
Exactly. It encourages you to really be present, to connect with the local culture. Those moments, those are what make each trip special.
What are some of the ways it suggests we, like, capture and hold on to those memories?
Well, it's a big fan of journaling. You can do it the old-fashioned way with a notebook or start a travel blog. Some people sketch or even paint.
I love that.
And of course, there's photography. You don't even need a fancy camera, just use your phone.
And you can look back on them later and relive it all. So good. So as we wrap up our deep dive into navigating the globe, I'm curious, what really stuck with you from the guide? As a traveler yourself, I mean.
It's gonna sound cheesy, but
Go for it.
the way it just embraces this idea that age is just a number when it comes to like seeing the world. It shows how travel for seniors isn't just doable. It's like transformative.
I love that.
It enriches your life. It changes how you see things. It gives you stories you'll carry with you forever.
Yes. And this guide really gives seniors the tools to do that, don't you think?
Totally. It's like it's saying, don't just dream about it, go do it. And it reminds you, it's not just about like where you're going.
Yeah.
It's the whole journey, right?
Yeah.
It's about trying new things, being open to the unexpected. Those are the things you remember.
Collecting those stories, those moments that make you think, wow, did I really just do that?
Yes.
Okay, before we let our listeners go plan their own adventures, we always like to leave them with something to think about. What's your final thought for them?
The guide said something that really resonated. It said, travel is an investment,
Ooh, I like that.
not just in experiences, but in yourself.
Explain that.
It's an investment in feeling good, in learning, in how you see the world.
It's like that saying, travel's the only thing you buy that makes you richer.
Exactly. So my question for everyone listening is, what will your senior travel story be?
Ooh, good one.
The world's waiting.
What a great way to end. And just like Navigating the Globe says, there's no time like the present to start writing those new chapters. Safe travels, everyone.